Dreaming of taking your web design side hustle and making it your official hustle? In this video, I'll be sharing my best tips for preparing your business to go full-time. But before we dive in, if you feel like not being able to land enough clients or the right clients has been one of the things that's been holding you back in your business, then I want to share with you my free training, which I pre-recorded just for you. It's called Finding Clients as a New Designer, and in it I go through the 7 mistakes that you could be making that are keeping you small and struggling as a web designer. I'll pop that link here for you, but you can also find it in the description below too. Okay, ready for tip number 1 to prepare your web design business to go full-time? The first tip is to come up with a solid financial plan. When you're trying to get your new business off the ground, the last thing you want to be stressing over is money. When we are panicked over our funds, we tend to start making really short-sighted decisions, trading long-term success strategies for things that will earn us money quickly right now. This leads us to saying yes to projects that we honestly hate and yes to making peanuts on the dollar because we need funds stat. So, how do we start our full-time business off on the right foot financially? Figure out exactly what it costs you to live each month and save up a couple months worth of whatever that is. Bankrolling your own business startup takes very careful planning. But by being proactive, you are giving yourself the ultimate leg up and room to focus on setting up your business the right way the first time. Okay, on to tip number 2, which is to make sure that your business is legally legit. Start with separating your personal and business finances to make this happen. When you first started your web design side hustle, you're probably still testing the waters on this whole idea of becoming a website designer, so I'm assuming you probably weren't in any rush to run out and sign any official documents or set up a fancy business bank account. I would imagine, people often tell me that their rent, groceries, business expenses, and client payments, they're all coming in and out of the same bank account, but not anymore. Separating your business and personal finances not only means having a super easy way to track your profits and your expenses, meaning you won't accidentally end up with an expensive hobby that you didn't realize was actually costing you money, but it's also actually an important part of protecting yourself personally should you know what ever hit the fan in your business. Oh, and while you're splitting your business and personal stuff, make sure to get your business set up with its own tax ID or EIN number if you're in the US. That's an employment identification number, so you don't have to go handing out your personal SSN, social security number, everywhere you go. So that's the first part of getting your legal stuff in a row. But the second part is deciding how you actually want to structure your business legally, which will affect how you pay your taxes, as well as who is held liable for any damages if a lawsuit pops up. Whether you choose to remain a sole proprietor, become an LLC, or form an S-Corp, whatever structures there are for registering your business in your country, it's time to do the homework on which one is the right one for you and make it official. Oh, and if you haven't already, it's also time to get some solid client contracts in place. You may be thinking, but I have the chillest clients on the planet. In what life would they ever come after me for something as simple as messing up something on their website? But I promise you, this is not something you want to find out the hard way. What about your own website as well? Have you added a proper terms and conditions to your website? Maybe also a privacy policy? Now, I'm no lawyer, which is why when I was creating my Square Secrets business course, I made sure to bring in special guest experts and a creative business-specific lawyer, that is Paige of the Creative Law Shop, to cover all the things that my students need to know about legally setting up and protecting their business. So if you could use more than a little hand-holding in this or any area of running your web design business, then I definitely invite you to join myself and 9 other guest experts inside my Square Secrets business course. You can find all the enrollment details in the description below. I'll put some links for you for that as well. All right, on to tip number 3, which is all about setting up systems. If you've been hustling on the side for a little while now, chances are you've already got a few websites under your belt. So it's time to take what you've already learned from those web design projects and turn them into some kick-ass, repeatable processes for your business. The easiest way to grow your business and be able to take on more clients without having to work increasingly insane hours is to actually streamline the work that you're already doing. Every single client you ever take on will need to go through the inquiry process, the onboarding process, the actual web design process, and the final handoff, right? So rather than having to reinvent the wheel at every stage with every single new client, take the time now to set up solid systems for all of those things. They can always be tweaked and refined as you learn more about the way that you like to work and what fits with the type of client that you love to serve, but having a template or a checklist or a process that you can easily duplicate for everything you do on repeat in your business will drastically cut back on how much time you are spending working in your business. And that's therefore a whole lot more time that you'll be able to devote to working on your business or even taking on extra paid projects. By doing the same thing the same way in the exact same order every single time, you'll have way fewer facepalm moments when working with clients and managing the behind the scenes of your business. All right, on to tip number 4 for preparing to take your business full time, which is to invest in the skills and tools you need in order to be successful. The number one reason I see new designers struggle when trying to take their business full time is that they skip the foundations of design and business and try to head straight for the super sexy sounding stuff like finding dreamy clients and making all the money. But in doing this, they've severely limited their ability to ever grow. It's those same designers who years later are still scratching their heads wondering, where are all the legitimate paying clients and all the dreamy projects and the ones with the real budgets? Do yourself a favor and don't wait until you feel completely frustrated and out of ideas before finally investing in your own business. Investing in your business early on and even before you feel ready will help you skip literal years worth of trial and error, allowing you to grow your business and therefore your income at a much, much quicker rate. If you caught my recent chat with uber successful past student of mine, Mariana Durst, she shared that when it comes to how much you can charge as a designer, the best measure of the value that you give is actually how much you've invested in your own professional development. She also said she would never dream of asking a client to pay more than she had been willing to invest in herself. She said, if I'm asking someone to invest in me, it's because I'm also investing in my own expertise and becoming faster and better and more well-rounded. I started with taking Square Secrets, and every single professional development investment that I've made in my business, I have tripled or quadrupled my investment back no matter what. Okay, so there is one other investment that can make or break your attempt to go full-time in your business, and that is having the right tools for the job. When you were first winging it with your side hustle, you may not have wanted to pay for yet another monthly subscription for something that you were probably barely using, and so you became a master at Googling all of the free workarounds for doing all the things. But now that you are full-time, you don't have time for taped together business solutions or trying to force a piece of software to just be something that it's not. Time is money when you run your own business, and every minute you spend fighting with the wrong tool is time you could have spent on actual income earning and generating activities. If you want to look and feel the part of a pro designer and have clients take you super seriously, you're going to want to invest in a proper CRM system. That is a customer relationship management system or software. That will allow you to respond to inquiries, schedule consultation calls, send contracts and invoices, share files with your clients, and securely and conveniently accept payments. That is all without you and your client having to log into 50 different softwares to make all of those things happen. Your clients will brag about just how easy and seamless you made it to work with you, and you will have everything you need to manage that client's project all in one easy to manage software. Having the right tools and investing in the right education for yourself allows you to quickly improve your offerings and overall client experience, which probably means more word-of-mouth referrals, more clients, and more confidence for charging the premium designer rates that you've been dreaming about charging. Ready for tip number 5? Design your new work with intention. Back when you were still working the 9 to 5, you had someone telling you exactly how and when to work for 8 hours a day. Then, whatever time was left over, you probably devoted to slowly building your web design business on the side. But now that you are your own boss, it's going to take being super intentional about how you're spending your time and what exactly you're doing each day that you sit down to work. Otherwise, it is totally possible for entire weeks to go by where you feel completely exhausted, but at the same time, you really don't have anything to show for all that hard work that you put in, and you haven't actually served more clients and or brought in more income than you would have when you were just doing the side hustle thing. Without a plan for how you'll work, you'll find yourself spending way too long on things that simply do not move the needle in your business, like spending 30 plus minutes trying to come up with an Instagram caption or pushing the same 3 content blocks around the page for hours. Guilty. Time blocking and batch working are 2 of my favorite ways to get it all done and still feel like I have a life outside of my business. That and relentless prioritization of what really matters. So basically, I look at my design process as well as all the other behind the scenes things that I need to do in my business, and I decide which tasks are non-negotiable and move those to the top of my to-do list. Then I create a plan to batch certain types of tasks on certain days, as well as how much time I will allot for each task before calling it good and done. So Mondays are the day I tackle all the admin type tasks like responding to emails, stats tracking, checking in on my business budget. Tuesdays I set aside for calls, since I know that personally hopping on a bunch of calls throughout the day totally disrupts whatever project that I'm working on, so it's best for me to just knock them all out in one single day. Then the rest of the days of the week are divided into specific projects like content creation or client work or updating my courses, just for me personally. This way, I never have to guess at what I should be working on when I crack open my laptop each day. I have my clear marching orders that I know align with my goals for that season of my business. And instead of trying to force myself to adopt the glamorous daily routines of others that I see online, I have intentionally designed my week around my own lifestyle and the way that I know that I like to work. Okay, so tip number 6 is probably the most important one for building a successful, sustainable business. And that is to set boundaries before you reach the point of burnout. When you run your own web design business as a side hustle, it's easy to justify charging less, doing extra work for free, or accepting texts or calls from clients at all hours of the day and night. But if you are serious about building a sustainable business where you won't constantly be operating in burnout mode or crisis mode, then it's time to establish some firm boundaries right now from the get-go. Those client contracts we talked about earlier will go a long way in helping with this boundary thing specifically, since all the boundaries will be plainly outlined for the parties to see and nothing will come as a surprise to your client mid-project. It's important to establish things like when and how your clients can reach you, aka your office hours, deadlines for each phase of the design process, and any client homework they must submit. You should also talk about how many rounds of revisions are allowed and how you'd like that feedback submitted to you for those revisions. You also want to have exactly what's included in their package and how much extra any last minutes or add-ons will cost. But remember, clients are not the only ones in need of some boundaries. Sometimes we need to set boundaries for ourselves too. You were probably used to working some pretty long days while juggling a job and trying to build your business on the side, so it can be super challenging to reprogram your brain from thinking that you must always be hustling 24/7 in order to see progress. But I promise you, your business is not going to fall apart if you take a break. In fact, you'll be doing your clients a favor by showing up rested and ready to tackle their projects with actual gusto and motivation. So make sure that while you're coming up with a list of all the boundaries that you want to set for your clients, maybe come up with a few healthy boundaries to set for yourself as well. All right, so for our final tip for today, it may not seem all that important when it comes to being a successful designer, but I promise you it can make all the difference on the hard days that will inevitably come around while figuring out how to make your dream business a reality. And that is to be super intentional about finding support and building community for yourself. Even if you are not the type to stand around the water cooler and chat all day at whatever job you were doing before this, chances are that you are used to some basic level of human interaction at work. But when you work for yourself from your couch in a job that legit never requires you to go outside or to actually see people, it's super easy to find yourself completely isolated. Even the world's biggest introverts need community and support in some form, so don't make the mistake of trying to do it all alone. Not only that, but the decision to take your web design business full-time can be extremely polarizing to friends and family too. Not everyone can understand why you would give up a perfectly comfortable 9-to-5 job paycheck so that you can beg strangers on the internet to give you their money. It's important to find other people who can relate to exactly what it is that you're going through and who will cheer you on the days that you feel like you're just ready to completely throw in the towel. I love watching the lifelong connections that are being made inside the student Facebook communities for both my Square Secrets and Square Secrets Business courses. Designers of all experience levels are in there giving super valuable feedback, sharing super timely resources that I had never even heard of, and generally just being very rah-rah about helping out their fellow designers. I can't tell you how much I wish I had access to something like that myself when I was first starting out as a designer and living in a completely new country where I didn't speak the language and knew exactly 0 people besides my then boyfriend. So when preparing to take your business to the next level, look for ways to connect with other creatives and other business owners, or even better, other web designers who have been there, done that, and can bring all of the constructive, positive vibes to you. So those are my tips for what to prepare ahead of time in order to set yourself and your new full-time business up for success. Don't forget to take advantage of the free training, which I recorded for you to help you land more clients and start your business off on the right foot. The link to that is in the description below, so go ahead, give it a click, and watch that right after this. And remember, if you found this video helpful, be sure to let me know by hitting the like button. And remember, for the best tips on building a web design business that you love, don't forget to subscribe and tap the little bell to be notified of when new content drops on my channel every single week. If you're looking for something to watch next, be sure to check out these videos too.